Hey guys, it's me, Dave LaMont. Time for the Monday Nooner edition. Let me start off with see if you can guess who I am now. No, that's terrible. Wait a minute. I look like I'm having a stroke, and perhaps at my age I am. No. Trying to do that Tyler Hero sneer. There it is. Wait. There you go. That was from last night's third game. It's all over South Florida anyway, and possibly around the country because it was just perfectly captured by the TV cameras, and that means it's meme-worthy, much like all those Michael Jordan memes that have popped up ever since The Last Dance captivated us for night after night on Sundays in May when we desperately needed something fresh. So, yeah, it was a surprise to me. Let's face it. I thought we were looking at a sweep. You did no Adebayo, no Dragic again. And yes, Jimmy Butler is still on your team, but he needs help. Well, he got help, and then he also didn't need the help. He was that good. The triple-double, and just to put it in historical perspective, all right, I'm going to have to read this. 40-point triple-double and 70% field goal percentage games in NBA history. Jimmy Butler is the only one to do it in the finals. Okay? Chris Webber in 1995 in the regular season. Charles Barkley did it in 93 in conference finals. Magic Johnson in the regular season in 81, and Wilt Chamberlain 3 times in the 60s in the regular season. Now, in the 60s, they didn't do a particularly great job of counting block shots. I can't even imagine what Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain did with triple-doubles in that era, when the shooting percentages weren't as high as they are now, and therefore there were more rebounds to be had, and guys would routinely get 20, 25 rebound games like Wilt or Russell, and guys who almost never came out. Wilt never came out. And it's lost to time, but I promise you that those guys would have had triple doubles like crazy, and actually with block shots. Never mind assists. You could throw assists away, and they could have triple double with rebounds, points, and blocks. Anyway, I digress. And where Jimmy Butler, that might have been, in fact, I think it is the best Heat playoff performance of all time. And LeBron had a huge game, 2012, 45 points, 15 boards against Boston. Dwayne Wade certainly had his share of great games. Tim Hardaway, going back to when this Heat team was competitive in the 90s, had some big moments. That 7th game against the Knicks when they won the Eastern Conference or got to the Eastern Finals against the Bulls. But this was gigantic because you lose, it's 3-0, and it's, hey, that's fun. What are the Dolphins doing? Hey, how about those Marlins? That's what happens. But the Heat stay on the front page. They wouldn't have been on the front page if it weren't for Jimmy Butler. And what the whole thing with the Heat leads me to kind of my main point of today's program, which I will get to in a moment. Actually, you know what? I'll start it now because I wanted to talk a little bit today, particularly after watching the Heat and also the Marlins, because they are in the second level of the playoffs now. They're one of 8 teams left in the NL. And they start with Atlanta tomorrow, a team they can beat. I remember thinking a few months ago when baseball got started, this could be the year that we have a sneaky surprise champion. Well, there are some really good teams still in the playoffs. And 2 of them are going to knock each other out, the Yankees and the Rays. That's a heavyweight championship series to me. But the Marlins are that team. They are the surprise team left out of the 16 that remain in Major League Baseball after 32 were let in, which is a little bit too many, but I digress again. Nobody gave the Marlins a shot. Nobody thought they would even finish at 500. They lost 105 games last year. I'll give you an example. Being a Baltimore Orioles fan, the fact that they only finished 10 games under 500, you're drinking Natty Boh all day to celebrate that. You're happy. Because the expectations, I thought maybe they'd get to the teens. And they finished 25 and 35. And for a tiny bit of the time, they were on the fringe of the wild card chase. That's what you probably could have expected out of the Marlins. But no, we know where they are now. The Heat, we didn't see them in the NBA Finals. Maybe the Eastern Finals, but everybody thought, well, somebody will take them out. Milwaukee or Boston will take them out. Well, we know how that turned out. So my point is nobody gave us any respect, or as I put on my title for today, I don't get no respect at all, in honor of the great Rodney Dangerfield. If you don't know who Rodney Dangerfield is, you're young. if you're around my age or close to it, you knew Rodney Dangerfield. For about 5 years, there was no bigger comic in America, bigger than Richard Pryor. Eddie Murphy hadn't taken off yet, but he was ascending. George Carlin, whoever the hot comic was, Rodney was bigger than all of them. He was making movies like Caddyshack, which was his first film, just shot a few minutes from where I live, at the sacred holy ground of what used to be Rolling Hills Country Club. He was it. He was back to school. I mean, they were making movies where he was the box office attraction. Okay? That's hot. And Rodney's whole shtick was, I don't get any respect at all. And he would tell jokes about how terrible his life is. And he was a one-liner, fast delivery. Look him up. Look at YouTube. Because in the days when The Tonight Show was really a star vehicle for launching careers or helping careers, unlike today when it's just like a game of Twister, Rodney would get on The Tonight Show and destroy. And then the next day, because everybody used to watch The Tonight Show because there weren't that many options, you'd go talk about it. You try to tell some of the jokes. That's how big Rodney Dangerfield was. And his whole thing was, I don't get no respect at all. You know, I jumped in a cab and told the driver, take me where there's some action. He took me to my house. That kind of stuff. Go look it up. Because Rodney was the originator of this. But what has happened is we in the media have co-opted this angle, and it is now, I think, grossly overused. And that's certainly partly our fault, because media is always looking for an angle. That's how you when you're churning out story after story, you've got to find something reasonably fresh. Well, to be blunt, there's nothing fresh about the don't get no respect angle. However, in the case of Jimmy Butler and the Heat, and in the case of the Miami Marlins, I'm sure they deeply believe this, and it might be motivating for them. I mean, Butler clapping back at LeBron James saying, they in trouble, apparently something LeBron said. Now, I'm not sure I would be poking that bear, but Jimmy Butler isn't afraid of anything. That's become pretty obvious. So he doesn't care what LeBron thinks. Maybe he should, but he doesn't. So why am I bored with the angle? Because it seems like it's too easy. It's the same thing. Underdog team. Oh, my God. All right. Miami Clemson is coming up this week. Hurricane football. It just popped into my head. Miami's going to be a big underdog. They're not going to get any respect. You know what? In this case, they probably don't deserve it until they play Clemson competitively, or maybe even upset them. But that's going to be an angle. And then the people are going to say, well, you know, we don't really, we feel that, but we know amongst ourselves how good we are. We respect us, you know. It's an angle, but it's a little bit played out, to be blunt with you, because it's been going on for years. But in the history of sports, there are examples of the people who haven't gotten the respect coming through. Look at boxing. Now, again, I'm older, but Muhammad Ali fought some guys, Leon Spinks, Ken Norton, whom he didn't respect, and they beat him. Spinks took his title. Ali had to fight the guy again to get it back and barely won. Ken Norton he didn't take seriously till the first round when Norton broke Ali's jaw. Did Mike Tyson take Buster Douglas seriously? Heck no. And what happened? Buster Douglas, for the first and only time in his career, got in shape, fought up to his capabilities, and knocked out the invincible Mike Tyson, beginning a career slide for Tyson that he's emerged from now, seemingly as a better, happier man in entertainment and everything else he's doing. But, you know, it started Mike on that wreck road that he spent too much time on. And Buster Douglas could easily say, nobody respected me. And he would have been right. So I see where, in the case of the Heat and the Marlins, and by the way, pop quiz, name 5 Marlins players without looking it up. It ain't easy. It takes work. I'm not sure I can do it. And this is my job, as Donald Sutherland said in Animal House. So I understand why they're not getting the respect. I just get a little tired of reading about it. Or that's a classic easy talk show or Twitter comment to make. You're a talk show host. You just throw that out there and just go, yep, my phone's lit up. I'm going to get some coffee. Let me know when we're back from break. And you've got an easy show. So the whole no respect thing is very played out. But it seems to work for some people as a motivator. Now, you could also take the angle of the old Pittsburgh Steelers coach, Chuck Noll. If I have to motivate you, I'll get rid of you. Imagine that. When we get all excited when we see a coach on the sidelines or on the bench or a manager in the dugout, like giving somebody the business and just yelling their brains out. Bill Cowher was always good TV because he was yelling and carrying on, while Tony Dungy was standing there with his arms folded, being Tony Dungy. That's who those guys were. Those were their natural personalities. Cowher wasn't putting on a show for the cameras. He was that way, just as Dungy was quiet, soft-spoken guy. Both got respect. Both won Super Bowls. Both were great at what they did. But Cowher was the ferocious, I want a guy like that. I just want a guy who knows what he's doing and will win. Unlike Adam Gase. Hold on. So if I can't do the sneer, can I do this? The Adam Gase? That's actually painful. I now have a slight headache. So appreciate what the Heat did last night. If you want to go and play the whole 305 no respect thing, that's okay. That's your deal, not mine. But a couple things about that third game as we bounce back to that I'm not sure are going to happen in game 4. Historically, LeBron never plays 2 bad games in a row. And Anthony Davis probably doesn't have a long history of 2 bad games in a row also. And his game was fouled up, so to speak, by foul trouble. And he was not himself. Well, you got to take advantage of that. And also, I think the Heat cut back on that double team, stuck with man defense, and that might have flummoxed him a little bit. Now, he's a bright guy. He's obviously a tremendous talent, and he is the key to the entire series, Anthony Davis. Not Jimmy Butler, not LeBron. Anthony Davis is the key to the series. If he plays 2 more really good games, we're done here. And we're trying to figure out when the NBA is going to start its next season. If he has another off game, well, but I don't know if Jimmy Butler can come up with another game like that. And LeBron James spent almost no time guarding him. And LeBron, when motivated, there's that word, can be a very good individual defender. He's a good team defender. He clogs passing lanes. He does things very well there. So game 4 is going to be fascinating. And now there's a reason to tune in because I am not sure and I think maybe Adebayo will be back. And that's speaks for itself as to how much help that's going to be if he's healthy enough to play well. And this will be an interesting test for Adebayo if he does indeed come back. Young guy, biggest spotlight of his career, and he has to play not at 100%. Think about that. How will he deal with that? Will he deal with it with focus and just shake it off? Sometimes some of your best games that you see guys have is when they're not feeling well. They're sick or they're hurt, and they just say, you know what? The heck with this. I'm going to throw my entire concentration into just playing ball, and let's see what happens. And that may work. That may work for Bam. But we're going to learn a lot about him. And you have to be 1,000 times impressed with what he's done so far this season. I remember getting into it with a member of the media on Twitter when he was drafted at Adebayo. And his comment, and I won't mention the guy's name, was, I think he's going to be bum Adebayo. Well, I think we know how all that turned out. But it's an opinion. And you know what? He didn't show him any respect. See how I tie that all together? Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know what I'm doing. But that's all. That's respect. You want to have your self-respect. You want to respect others. And I have no prediction for game 4 other than I don't think LeBron is going to walk off the court with 9 seconds to go. By the way, bad look. And I am not anti-LeBron, although I admit I'm a little tired of him. He's been around so damn long. And he is a diva, and he is a drama queen. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But there's things about him I like. I like his off-the-court activities. I like the fact that he's willing to take a stand, even if it costs him and it's unpopular. So I give him props for that because he could just easily vanilla his way through things with his answers and just be boring. But he doesn't do that. So I'm good with that. And his talent, I mean, come on. I don't have to add anything to that. It's right out there for you to see. But the drama queen stuff and all the other stuff, I don't need that. So walking off with a few seconds to go, and it was weird because I'm watching the end of the game and I'm just about to turn it off because it's over. And I hear Mike Breen go, oh, they have to get another player out here because they need 5 to finish the game. Now, talk about living up to a technicality. Honestly, the refs could have just rolled that clock, but they did their jobs. And all of a sudden, you find out the reason is that LeBron walked off. Now, this isn't the post-game bro hug days in this environment, and I understand all of that. Maybe when the series is over, you'll get that. And this isn't, I get it. And I know he's mad. I know he's disappointed. He knows he didn't play well. But it's a bad look. And I'll tell you how I know it's a bad look and how I know it's wrong because, and this is not the same thing, but it's also the same thing. Many years ago, I was in a 30 and over basketball league that was recreational. It was supposed to be for fun. Bunch of guys in their 30s and early 40s going out, playing a little ball, and just getting some exercise and having fun. Well, guess who didn't have fun? So if we were going to lose, and either if I wasn't playing at the moment, or I look up at the clock and I go, we're done, I would leave and be in my car and I would not shake the hands of my opponents. If we won, I stuck around. True. Not a good look. Not something I'm proud of at all. So I kind of understand LeBron's mentality there. And of course, his is on 1,000 billion trillion scale, bigger than my little nonsense. But the fact is that I performed poorly in that situation. What's the difference? Who cares? There's no camera there. I'm not playing for anything. And yet, I was so competitive that I couldn't shake the hands of 5 other guys in my age group. That's brutal. So I am in a position, in a way, to understand his attitude and how disgusted he was. So my 1 Game 4 prediction is that he will be way better than he was in Game 3. And I just don't know if Jimmy Butler can do that again. Not because he doesn't have the ability to do it, but what are the odds? And is he not the face of what this hashtag heat culture is all about? All the attitude, all the controlled fury that he plays with. He's kind of like a Russell Westbrook under control. Westbrook can be breathtaking, but he is also wild on the court. And he plays with that anger, which sometimes gets the better of him. But Butler plays angry and seems to be able to control it. That's a skill. And that rubs off on everybody else. Rubs off on Tyler Hero, rubs off on Robinson, rubs off on Jay Crowder, all of those guys. So what he's done in just the time he's been here, which has not been very long, is really become the poster child for what that heat culture thing that they talk about all the time is. And was it Dave Hyde who wrote this, who tweeted this out, or somebody, George Sedano maybe? I think it was George, who's out in California. I used to have a talk show down here. George wrote, what were they thinking in Chicago, Minnesota, and Philly? They had this guy. What's different about those franchises and those teams that Jimmy Butler succeeded but didn't succeed? And now here he is in Miami flourishing. And this Heat team is in pretty good shape for the future. So this may not be their last finals appearance in this run they're on. They can keep them healthy. So respect, no respect, as I said, no respect, I'm tired of. But I understand the angle. I've used the angle in broadcast in the past, and I'm sure I will again. It's a bit hackneyed for me, but for some athletes, it is incredibly motivating. and read the quotes when the series is over. Especially if somehow the Heat win this series, again, I'm not going to bet your or my life on that, but if they do, I'll be drowning in no respect quotes. One last thing about a phrase that somebody brought up to me that I wanted to discuss briefly, and sort of getting back to correcting the English language. Giving it 110%. Now, there's an old Simpsons episode. I'm trying to remember. Oh, I think it's the classic softball game episode. It is. With all the different Major League Baseball stars, Roger Clemens, Wade Boggs, Don Mattingly, Mike Scioscia, Ken Griffey Jr. and his grotesquely swollen jaw. Scioscia, who had radiation poisoning, nearly died. Steve Sachs and his brushing with the law. That classic episode. I think Mr. Burns is getting the guys hypnotized to play. Jose Canseco was in it too. And the guy with the watch is going, "You will give 110%." And they all answer, "That is impossible. By definition, you can give no more than 100%. And that's my point. Yes, something can grow 110%. Something can grow 1,000%. Hopefully your 401k will. But you as a human being can only give 100%. It's the best you can do. You cannot exceed that. So if you gave 100%, bravo. When you took your tests in high school and college and elementary school, what was the highest score? 100. It's the same principle. So next time you hear 110%, just kind of go, okay. Don't insult them. Just make them feel good about themselves. That'll wrap up the Nooner for today. I'm going to see if I can effort up a guest for Friday, but thank you for watching. You can follow me on the Twitter, on Instagram, and, of course, the free YouTube subscription where all these shows lie, and state. They're there. Thank you for watching. I'll probably cough up an Almost Daily Dave tomorrow. Why not? It only takes a few minutes. Take care. Appreciate it. Be safe. Bye. Let me try that sneer again. There we go.